Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, and today I wanted to talk a little bit more about crafting. Some things have changed since the first time we talked about this, which was pretty much right after the launch of the Witch Queen. There's a lot of early problems with crafting, but fundamentally it seems like a good system in some ways. Certain things are kind of on their way to being resolved. We have gotten word from Bungie directly that next week they are going to be patching in some drop rate increases for Wellspring weapons and for deep sight versions of those weapons. I don't really have a problem with the whole pattern unlock thing in terms of like how long that takes, because it's once you have a pattern, it is available essentially forever. So even if it takes a little while to kind of get to that point, I think it's ultimately okay. This does bring me to one of my kind of observations about crafting in general, in that it feels like it's set up for maybe a pretty solid longer term grind, and yet if you're trying to grind it out kind of instantly and right away, it's going to feel really, really bad. And like I've kind of half been doing this, but I know some people were going like really, really hard about it. Evie, are you about to chew on something loud? Is that what you're gonna do? I know you. I know you're going to. Who, me? No, just my horn here. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So this was seen when people were kind of just going super hard for the Wellspring weapons and were trying to essentially get all the Wellspring weapons on day one, which you need 2 or 3 copies of them. For the Season of the Risen ones, you need essentially 5 versions of them. The raid ones, you need 5 versions of them. This is like meant to be a longer term thing, but like if you're trying to do it right away, it feels exhausting to do that. And then also once you get a weapon, to level it to essentially max is level 20. Level 20 is when you unlock all the perks, including the advanced slots, and also you're able to get a small stat boost, I think, once you get to level 20. That takes a pretty long time. So if you're just trying to like grind out weapon kills or activities just for a specific weapon, again, this is something that feels like it's meant to be done over a longer period of time, and if you do try to just jam it in there like right away and get it done that quickly, it's going to feel bad. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I've said for a long time that Destiny needs kind of longer term grinds, so if you get to a point in the season where there's nothing else to do, you can kind of circle back to some of the weapons you haven't gotten patterns for yet, or some of the weapons you haven't crafted or grinded out levels for, and that is something that you can do, you know, in passing. I think pretty quickly you'll learn there are some weapons that just aren't worth it. Like I regret all of the time I spent to getting a level 20 red herring, which is at its core just a very boring rocket launcher that I probably should not have spent that much time on. Other things are feeling a lot better. I really have enjoyed, you know, everyone's unlocked all the perks for the glaive because of how much you're using it at the start. The Forensic Nightmare SMG I've been enjoying, and then there's obviously kind of certain other weapons that you're going to want to grind out and get the perfect rolls for. Currency caps remain a problem. The whole idea of crafting is that you are, in theory, able to store one crafted version of a weapon that you can swap all the perks between, so you wouldn't need like 5, 6, 7 versions of a weapon for all these different roles. But in practice, what's happening is you keep one roll of a gun and you don't want to switch it very often at all, especially with enhanced perks, because the cost is just insane. I maintain that you need to be able to permanently unlock perks once you've paid for them, rather than it costing money every time you switch between them. That makes no sense. And then the problem is if you play a lot, you're starting to build up deep sight weapons to the point where you can't even use them. The cap on each type of material is 250. The cap on neutral element is 8,500. So once you do that, either you're just storing unfinished or finished red frame weapons in your vault in order to have more currency for later. And obviously, without any increases in vault space, that is not going to be able to last very long. I have probably a couple dozen slots already filled by those types of weapons, to the point where I don't think I'm going to be able to do this much longer. I think I'm just going to have to start deleting red frame weapons that I don't kind of actively need. So that's not a very good system, if you ask me, and that is something kind of completely imposed by currency caps, and so this is not really solving the vault space problem like it was supposed to. I think it's only going to make it worse, honestly. To me, one of the things that feels the weirdest about this is how much it doesn't really jive with the current system of random rolls that also exists. Because now there's two tiers of weapons. There's deep sight weapons, and then there's random roll weapons. And there's kind of a middle ground where some craftable weapons are also dropping with random rolls. But like now, I can get like a random roll drop of a crafted weapon that's really good, but it doesn't feel like, it feels worse. Like it doesn't feel like I just got a god roll. It feels like, okay, but really I need the pattern for that, and really I need to grind that to level 20, because in order to get like a perfect version of this, a 5 out of 5, I need the level 20 and I need enhanced perks, even though probably half the enhanced perks are not really even worth it. So like to me, it kind of devalues like what used to be kind of like, oh my god, I can't believe this, this roll dropped. And like I get it's trying to mitigate the frustration of RNG and like getting you away from solely relying on random rolls. And yet I would almost like, to me the solution for that was like I enjoyed getting multi-perk weapons maybe more than this current system of like, okay, all of your drops before you get the crafted frame or until you max a weapon are kind of pointless, and then this creates another tier of weapons that you cannot craft, and so those random rolls are still really valuable, and those are more valuable in a lot of ways than the crafted weapons because of their rarity. Obviously, I'm thinking of what are you doing? What are you looking for? Do you want to play some games? Is that what you're doing? I'm thinking of things like Funnel Web and Crate. Funnel Web is one of the best legendary weapons they've introduced in a very long time. And there is, now that they nerfed the chest farm, which was the only somewhat competent way to farm it, it's a completely random world drop now. And found an even louder toy. It's a completely random world drop now. Evie, come here. What are you doing? Come on. Want some pets? It's hard to do this. Want some pets? Okay, you get some pets. There you go. It's those almost feel like more valuable now. Like when I get a god roll funnel web drop, that's going to feel better than like pretty much anything that can come from the crafting system. I don't know, it doesn't really it seems like this is a blend of two systems that don't really complement each other very much. Like the only kind of RNG aspect that goes into crafting is getting the patterns in the first place, and that aspect has not felt very good, as we can tell. Something about this doesn't quite work for me, because then I feel like in a couple months, when everyone has all the crafting patterns, everyone is going to have the same, there is no more pursuit chase for those weapons, like essentially at all. Like everyone is going to have the same couple rolls, and maybe that's kind of the path we were on before, only with less RNG, but something about it just doesn't really work for me, and these two systems kind of seem incongruent with each other. So I don't know if this is, this is 1.0 version of crafting, and I think there are some definite changes they could make that are a little more able to be. I don't know what she's doing. I think they can make some really clear changes that would help things, like unlocking the ability to switch between perks without the cost, maybe allowing you to have one alternate perk on your gun per column at all times, so you don't have to go and reshape the weapon every single time, higher currency caps so we're not storing as many things in the vault, things like that. The system seems a little rocky right now, and while I like some aspects of it, and I do like kind of the idea of investing in weapons, this is a really, really big departure for loot in Destiny, to the point where like it's so big, I don't even know if the game really needed it to be this big. Like, I think the problems with RNG in Destiny were mostly like Vex Mythoclast isn't dropping and things like that. I think things between Umbral engrams and like multiple perks and kind of farmable things, like even back in Menagerie Day, like that was a good way to target farm weapons. Like to me, that felt a little better than what we're seeing here. Like this is almost too focused. If that, I don't know. I know that's a weird thing to say, but just. It doesn't feel quite the same to me. And as someone who really likes loot as a core part of their looter shooters, I just worry when we enter an era where everything is able to be crafted and RNG means almost nothing because all of your drops are going to feel pretty useless, I feel. Like I've once again, like it is nice to have a god roll of a crafted weapon drop, and yet if your goal is to level the crafted version up to max to get enhanced perks and stuff, there's no point even using the god roll that just dropped because you have to be using the crafted weapon, and then you have to level it enough to get the god roll perks and then level it enough to get level 20. And like, it's just a very kind of awkward system where these two sides don't really work together. I guess we'll see how it works as time goes on. I am already kind of hitting the wall on a lot of weapons that I've taken a good amount to level 20, and now I'm just kind of waiting on pattern drops from all of the risen weapons that need 5 drops. The raid weapons, I think that's going to be its own class of RNG for patterns, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just some things about crafting aren't quite landing for me, even though this is the one thing I was like really excited about with the expansion. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, I do hope they make some kind of more immediate changes other than just drop rate fixes and things. And I should go before Evie is under my desk unplugging my computer. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. I'll see you at the raid race tomorrow. I'm going to be watching it live at my friend's house, and then maybe I'll do a video like later that night or something. But all right, I'll see you guys later. Take care.